Hello there, it's Carrie Rhodes here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I have a very fun card making video for you and a coordinating ornament to make as well. I am playing along with the current Lawn Fawn Fanatics challenge to make the sentiment the star of your card. And the sentiment I'm using is this giant Let It Snow die cut, and I am going to use it on both my projects today. So let's jump in and die cut this out. I die cut it from some white glitter cardstock, and I want to make this very thick. So I cut it out 2 more times from some standard cardstock, and then I can glue all of those together and make it nice and sturdy with that glitter right on top. And then it's going to be nice and raised up off of my card as well. For the background, I have a piece of Bristol Smooth white cardstock that is 4 5/8 by 4 5/8, and I'm using Uncharted Mariner to create a night wintry sky. I'm going to go around this so that the edge is darker than the center, but other than that, it's nothing fancy at all. And then I'm going to add my favorite splatter, just spraying on some water from my distress sprayer. I like to let it set for like a minute, and then I'll come in and pick up any excess water with my paper towel. And I put a ton of splatter on this because I really wanted to give it a snowy effect. And check it out, it's so yummy. I'm going to hit it with my heat tool on the low setting to dry it because I'm adding another layer. I'm using this Snowflake background stencil set. There's 2 stencils in the set, so you could put them on in different colors, but I am going to use one single color, and that is Winter Frost Distress Mica Spray Stain. So I've taped it in place and I'm spraying it over the top. It's collecting a ton of ink on top, so I'm going to pick that up with a scrap piece of white cardstock, and then I feel better because I'm not wasting it, and I will use that in a second project in this video today. And then here's the second stencil doing the same exact thing. I did pick up the excess ink on this one as well, and then I'm going to show you what this looks like. It's a little bit wet still, but you can really see those snowflakes. They're going to dry back lighter and really leave behind something that is really shimmery. All right, so I'm using some white paint. Might have got a little more than I wanted to, so I might have to just put a little bit more snow on here than I originally thought. I'm just dragging my scraggly little paintbrush on the edge of this window sheet and splattering that white paint all over. That's going to take a little bit to dry, so I brought out the Penguin Party Stamp Set. I happen to have these images already stamped because the first time I ever stamped this, I stamped out like 4 or 5 sets of all the images. Like when you already have the stamps in your MISTI, like all you have to do is throw in another piece of paper, ink it up, shut the door, and just keep going. So it's kind of nice to do that if ever you find yourself stamping out all the things, and then you have them ready to go like I did for today's card. So I am using some gray markers to color out my little penguin. C8 is my darkest, and then I have C6 and C4 for the darkest part. I'm using C2 and C0 for his tummy, and I'm going to use the lightest of those colors for my baby, and I'm going to use a little stippling motion because penguin chicks are often fuzzy and downy, and I wanted to give it that look, and I may or may not have achieved it, but I think it's cute either way. So I'm just going to keep adding that and letting the colors or the dots kind of fade out a little bit to give a little softer look. And then I have the little pole there that's like the North Pole. I'm using R17, that's my lightest, and then I'm bringing in R27 to add in a shadow. And then there's the actual sign part, and there's different sentiments in the set that you can stamp into that little sign, and I love that. So I'm going to color that with a little bit of a shadow, C4, C2, and C0. I am going to add a little shadow to these 3 little snowflakes, and those are all the stamped images that I'm going to use on this card, because remember, I'm trying to make the sentiment the star of my card today. I love a good challenge. It really helps like give me a burst of mojo to have a challenge and try to think what I would like to create with those parameters. So I love a challenge, and I think that it's a good way for you too to maybe try something new that maybe you didn't think of. So give it a try. Play along with the Lawn Fawn Challenge. So here I am die cutting everything out and getting it ready for my card. I love how close the Lawn Fawn dies cut. Just a little bit of a white border. I love it. So there they are, die cut out and ready to go. Then I'm going to stamp on the little sign. I'm using lobster ink and stamping free hugs because when it's snowy and cold, a free hug might warm you up, right? I have these simple wavy borders. I am going to die cut this piece of white glitter cardstock down the middle. I can always save that other side for something else, and I am using it in today's video as well. So I'm gluing my little snow across the bottom of my panel. Now it's all dry, and then I'm going to put the Let It Snow there so it's just resting on the top of the snow. It's going to get quite a few things added to it. My little penguins are being popped up in the bottom right corner so they can have a hug. Oh, so sweet. And then my little sign is going to go over here and just nestle right into that S. So good. Okay, I have the Woodland Critter Huggers add-on set. This is for winter, and I am adding a little thing of earmuffs to my sentiment. Like, you want the sentiment to be the star. This is one of the ways I'm letting it be the star, is by dressing it up. And as time goes on, I realized I needed to dress it up even more. So I'm gluing on my snowflakes, but I came back the next day and added more to it. That happens to me so often. But before the next day, I did glue this down to the card base. So I have a 5x5 card base, and I have a piece of that striped paper that is 4 7/8 by 4 7/8, and I glued everything down so you've got that red stripe border. I love that look on a card. Next, I am adding some glaze over the top of the entire sentiment. That's really going to let it shine. It's going to be raised up, it's going to be shiny, and it's going to help this pop off the card so much. It'll give it a little bit of distinction from the snow underneath it. You'll still be able to see the glitter through it, and it just looks like so icy. So I love it. Okay, it is the next day, and I decided I would take the mittens from this same set, the Woodland Critter add-on winter, die set, and I'm going to add that to my sentiment as well. Now, it is going to cover up one of my snowflakes, but I will fix that. I'll add another one on there. But you can see how the word "it" like really cursives out. It was like the perfect spot to add those mittens, and it kind of looks like they're, holding their hands up and waiting for the snow to fall. And I added my other snowflakes, so I had 3. And on top of that, I'm going to add some sparkle glaze from Lawn Fawn, so they have just a touch of glitter on them because the ground is all snowy glittery, right? These should have a little glitter on them as well. So I added that, and I really love the addition of those mittens. So here's what it looks like with everything dry. I love the little touches of glitter everywhere on this card. The glitter paper on the mittens and the earmuffs and underneath that glaze. Oh, it's all good. So now it is time for project number 2. The backstory is I make these woven snowflakes every single year. I will link the original video for you because it's much slower if you want to recreate these in the description box below. But I decided this year I wanted to make one even bigger. I've only made these with 6-inch strips. This year I am doing 8-inch strips. Now they are 1/2 inch wide, and you're going to need 12 to create this ornament. This is my favorite ornament. I try to make it in a different way every year. So I actually have several videos with this ornament in it. So to make it, you're going to start with 6 of the strips and set 6 aside. 2 of them you're going to fold in half because we're trying to find the center point, and doing this is very helpful. So 2 you're going to fold in half. And then those 2 you're going to glue them together at the center points to create a cross. And whatever side you have up is the side that's going to be inside your woven star. Okay, I turned that 180 degrees so that the original piece that was sideways is now up and down. And then I'm going to take 2 of those strips and glue them beside it. So the original piece is on top, and then the piece next to it that I'm gluing down right now is going to be under that sideways strip. The horizontal strip. So now I have the middle strip is on top and the strips on the side are underneath. Does that make sense? We're starting to create a woven look. Okay, now for the remaining two, we're going to weave these. So the middle strip right there is over, under, over. So now we want to go under, over, under, the opposite of what that middle strip is doing. And again, we need to glue these in place. And when you're gluing them, you want to make sure that you're not just putting a dot of glue. That glue really needs to fill that entire kind of square area where the two pieces touch. Because we're going to weave this, or we're going to bend the pieces actually next, and we want it to really be sturdy, glued on there, very sturdy. So you can see I flipped that over to the other side or rotated it to the other side and adding that final strip. And again, I have a much slower video that's very helpful. If you haven't seen it before, I'll have it linked for you below and you can recreate these. They're so easy. All you really need is one piece of paper. My original size, 6x6, you only need a 6x6 piece of paper to create this ornament. Okay, I did the same thing with my other 6 strips. So I have 2 pieces that are identical. When everything's dry, you want to turn this so it looks like an X, and you're going to work with those 2 inside pieces. You're going to flip it, twist it. You're really twisting it and putting glue on the back side and then twisting the other one and gluing them together. When you do this, you want to make sure you square up the ends so it's a nice square edge. You want to hold that for a minute before you move on to the next one, or it can, just the pressure of being twisted will help it pull apart. So make sure it's really well adhered before you move on. All right, we have 2 pieces now. I did the same thing to the other. We're going to turn one so that every twisted piece is lined up with one straight piece. Those straight pieces are going to get inserted inside the twisted pieces. And this is how the 2 pieces will be connected. So you'll do this 8 times with every single twisted piece on both sides. Okay, then we just need to glue them together. So take a little glue, put it on that twisted corner and press down. You want to make sure that the point of that is centered with the center of that strip. I like to do opposite sides because you can kind of pull this tight, and then I move on to the next one and same thing, glue one side, glue the opposite side. Normally, I like to snip these so they line up with the points, but today I'm just going to make them a tiny bit shorter so I can add something to the end of these. And I think when you do this, decorate the end strips this way. I'm adding mittens to mine, which I think is so cute. But when you do this, it gives it more of a snowflake look than a star. And I think that really goes with my sentiment. So I'm adding a mitten to both sides so it's 2-sided, has a finished look on the back. And then I'm adding on the little glitter paper cuffs on both sides as well. So I'm going to do 4 points on the snowflake with the red mittens, and then I have 4 points left. On those ones, I'm going to do blue mittens with the white glitter paper cuff. So the same thing, just gluing them on to that little piece that's sticking up, and it really, I've never done this before on any of the snowflakes that I have made, and it makes me so happy. I think it is so darling. So I hope this inspires you if you've made these before to maybe try something different. For the sentiment in the center of this, I am taking that excess mica spray paper, spraying it with Uncharted Mariner Distress Spray, and the mica still shows through even though I sprayed it on top. I'm also going to add that extra snowy hill that I have left over from the card, and I'm going to die cut the Let It Snow from this. So I will have the sentiment that looks like the snow is falling at the bottom. I think it's so cute. And the mica is still shiny. So fun. I am doing the same thing where I'm adding on 3 extra die cuts to make this nice and sturdy, especially because when I glue this down to my ornament, only the center is going to touch the actual ornament. There will be part of the sentiment that's just, you know, kind of flapping in the breeze. So I want it to be nice and sturdy. So once I figured out where I wanted this and got it lined up, then I just put my fingers so that it's inside the snowflake as well and pressed it together. I am adding a penguin to this as well. I wanted this little guy right here that looks like he's holding his arms out, and then he could like be catching the snow as it falls, kind of like on the card with the mittens on the word it. So I'm using the same exact markers that I did before to color him out. It's quick and easy. These penguins are really easy to color. So I like that, especially when you're doing different techniques with your other things, you know, an easy image to color is really nice. So this one I did add some R20 for the pink cheeks, and I love it so much. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to go back and add pink cheeks to the ones on my card now because I think it's so darling, so cute. So there he is. I'll die cut him out, and then he gets a special spot on my ornament. He is going to be the center of the O, or he's actually going to be the O. He really fits on there perfectly. Look at that. So perfect. So my O is now a penguin. Now we need something to hang this by, so I'm taking my crocodile, punching a hole in the center of one of those mittens and adding a white eyelet and setting that with my crocodile as well. And then I'll just tie on a piece of red twine, and that's going to make the perfect ornament hanger. I also really love to add these to a gift. This would, you could tie it onto the handle of a gift bag that was just white, and you're ready to go. Then you have a decorated gift bag and something cute for the person to keep as well. So I could not be more happy with how this ornament turned out. I love it. I think adding those mittens, it's just a game changer. Also, this is the first time, like I said, that I made this ornament bigger. It's quite large, you can see, compared to my 5x5 card. And I love the size of it so much. So those are my two projects where I let the sentiment be the star of the card, and you can see all the different ways I did that by adding the mittens, by adding the earmuffs, and then on the other one I put the little penguin as the O. Also, I did different techniques with them, the glitter paper, the glaze, the mica. So it was tons of fun, and I hope that you got a little bit of inspiration while you're here and some new ideas. And if you're interested in the products, I have them linked below, and I will see you guys all again very soon on the next video. Happy stamping! Bye!